He is quite literally one of the most familiar faces in the wrestling world. Captain Lou Albano has been a pro wrestler and wrestling manager for more than 30 years. Captain Lou has managed 17 World Championship matches and helped pioneer the WrestleMania concept, and he's with us live from White Plains, New York. Dick Floyd is a Hawthorne, California State Assemblyman who has introduced that bill we heard about to deregulate wrestling in California. He joins us in our Los Angeles Bureau. Now, Captain Lou, you've spent your life, 30 years of it, promoting wrestling. Now the World Wrestling Federation says, hey, it's all a fake. It's not a sport. How does that make you feel?
Well, Jeff, it's awful funny that they never said this before. They went up to, it's the past 5 years. If they say it's a fake, then it's what the World Wrestling Federation has created themselves. However, there are alliances like the NWA and the AWA. There are wrestlers like Barry Windham, Mike Rotunda, Dr. Death, Steve Williams. There are former wrestlers like Roddy Piper and like the legendary Bruno Sammartino, who were true wrestlers, who really got in that ring and wrestled. So if there's any fake involved in it, and if the WWF is saying that, they've created this themselves. I believe that we need a commission in professional wrestling for the fact that the wrestlers should be protected. And also, why shouldn't the state collect revenue from us? I call it a sport. Yes, we admit that there is showmanship in professional wrestling, but however, they're trying to get back to the basics of professional wrestling in the AWA and the NWA. And I don't feel that the WWF has the right. If their men are fake, why should other people be jeopardized? And why should other wrestlers not have a doctor at ringside, not be examined before they go into a ring?
Okay, Captain Lou, just
yes?
a second. Nobody argues that you don't need skill and discipline and talent to be a wrestler. But
yes.
The question is it something like a ballet, like theater, or is it a sport in which the people going into the ring don't know who's going to win? I think that's what most people wonder.
Well, I'll tell you, I never was a very good wrestler. I prided myself as a manager. When I got beat in that ring, I've wrestled Bruno Sammartino several times. No one told me to lose. If Bruno Sammartino had one hand tied behind his back, he could have beaten Captain Lou Albano. And as I said, the wrestlers like Roddy Piper and Bruno Sammartino and Lou Thez and the old-timers like Killer Kowalski, I believe they were true wrestlers and true athletes. Yes, there was some showmanship involved in professional wrestling, but as I said again today, they're trying, some alliances like the NWA and AWA are trying to get back to the basics of wrestling. These are athletes. We have commissioners in New York State, Randy Gordon, who is turning around. It's for the better of the boys. You should have an athletic commission, and the state should should have revenue. Why should promoters have the total pie eating the whole pie? I mean, we're in America. We pay taxes. Everyone doesn't love to pay taxes, but this is America. We admit there are things wrong with our country, but what do? We try to make it better. Right. There are things wrong with the commission, but let's go out and make it better.
Okay,
let's appoint some wrestlers on a commission. Let's make it better.
Let me ask Assemblyman Floyd. We regulate a lot of things that are in sports. We make sure that stuntmen in Hollywood are protected. We regulate a lot of theaters, movie theaters, exit signs. Just because wrestling may not be a spontaneous sporting event, Captain Lou Albano has 700 stitches in his body. Doesn't that suggest that it might be a good idea to have doctors in residence at these events?
Oh, nobody's saying not to have a doctor. I'm saying if we have a state-sanctioned, licensed game, that's what it's going to be. We need that regulation in boxing. But in boxing, there's a whole different world. The referee is in complete control. He can stop it, he can penalize people, all these sort of things. But the referee, state-sanctioned, licensed in California, his main job is not to see the bad guy do something.
Well,
and
Senator,
if he gets out of hand, they take him. I've seen him hit the referee over the head with a chair. Throw the referee out. The fight takes place outside as well as in the ring. Then we got a guy that walks in with a 2x4, another guy with chains, a guy with a guitar, and then the referee stands there and watches a guy give another guy a haircut or turn a snake loose on him.
Well, now, just a minute, Senator. That's basically in the WWF. It's not in the AWA or it's not in the NWA. And they advertise it as true wrestling.
Excuse
so if a guy comes in with a 2x4...
Wait a minute.
Excuse me, gentlemen, this is not...
He's doing a game just like they do to
right,
the
and
wrestling. I mean, he's into the game.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I'm sorry. This is not the Friday Night Fights. I have one more question for Dick Floyd. Please.
What you should do, Senator, is try to get in the ring with some of these wrestlers, like a Bruno Sammartino.
All right, gentlemen. I am going to
see how true
Captain Lou. I am going to get control of this if I have to get into a half Nelson. Assemblyman Floyd, one quick question. Let's clarify this. Under your bill, we've had a lawyer look at it. He tells us that, in fact, the state would no longer collect that tax from closed circuit.
That's wrong.
No, just a minute, Captain Lou. Assemblyman Floyd.
He's right. That's wrong.
Can you make it clear?
That was a mistake in the bill.
All right, and you're going to correct it.
That's going to be corrected.
All right, you have no intention of putting more money in the pockets.
And the gate tax, we ought to get that. We get that from theaters. We get that. But, you know, if we're going to sanction and license wrestlers, I want to know those poor girls just a few blocks down the street wrestling in the mud. Why the hell aren't we licensing them? They're in more danger than Albano would be in a ring.
Oh, that's only in your opinion, Senator. If you knew anything about professional wrestling, you'd realize that there are some alliances, again, trying to go for the betterment of wrestling, getting back to the amateur style they advertise wrestling as it should
it's great, but if you go back to the amateur...
No, Captain Lou and Assemblyman Floyd, Assemblyman Floyd, if you don't mind, we probably need a timekeeper here. We are going to actually pause for a moment, and perhaps we'll come back, and when and if we do, we will be joined by Frank Deford, a senior writer for Sports Illustrated. Continuing the question, are you sure Edward R. Murrow started this way? Frank Deford, who's with us now from our affiliate, WTNH in New Haven, Connecticut, is a senior writer for Sports Illustrated magazine, prize-winning author, and he takes part annually in our New Year's prediction program to forecast the year ahead in sports, and probably wishes he may be somewhere else. But Frank, I do want to ask you about the massive appeal of wrestling. The folks who pay their $19.95 for a pay-per-view program, the people who go to wrestling, do they, in your sense, know in their hearts that this is a show? Do some of them believe it's real? What are they when they go?
Well, first of all, I wish I were one of them, because I think there'd be nothing better in this world to believe in a world that's all black and all white and all heroes and villains. I think it's wonderful. I'm very jealous of them. And I think some of them understand that it may not be the most correct thing in the world, but I think they practice wonderful denial, Jeff. And in that sense, I think it's terribly benign and very, very nice. And also, Jeff, I want to congratulate you because you're the first television wrestling MC to get this far in a program without getting hit.
Well, that's because I'm several thousand miles away. No dummies here. But if in fact the fans who it seems to me both know and don't want to know that it's a stunt, if they became convinced that by the World Wrestling Federation's lobbying that in fact there was no more chance to believe that it was fake, what would it do to the spectacle? What would it do to the attendance, do you think?
I don't think it would hurt it at all. I think what's really happening is what George Aiken suggested many years ago, that we ought to declare the Vietnam War won and get out, and that's the end of it. And I think essentially these people will forget about this as soon as the matter is taken care of.
Well,
they'll go back.
Excuse me, may I interrupt a minute? Actually, before, when the senator talked, he was a little misinformed. He said that the state is now going to change the bill where they would receive revenue. Why shouldn't the state receive revenue from a sport? I call it a sport because wrestlers are hurt. And any wrestler that can't afford hospitalization, you must remember, like in the New York State Athletic Commission, if you're hurt in that ring, you are protected by the Athletic Commission. A doctor checks you before you get in that ring. Suppose promoters tell us that they will turn around and have a doctor there. Once they deregularize all throughout the nation, you know that's not going to be. The wrestler will not be protected. They are athletes. And where the senator said he saw 2x4s and snakes and so forth in that ring, maybe that's the WWF's way of having wrestling. But there are alliances who do not have snakes and so forth.
Gorgeous ladies of wrestling? Come on, now this is ridiculous.
All right, that's something else. That's gorgeous.
Gentlemen, excuse me.
Grand entertainment. Nobody argues
We're talking about the AWA, the NWA, other private alliances such as Trans World that are trying to get back to the basics
if they were half
of professional wrestling, and they are.
They'd be making the bucks.
Now, gentlemen, listen. One rule. I know I don't have a black and white shirt on. We're going to have to go one at a time. And I do want to ask.
Let me answer.
No, just a second, please. I have a question for Lou Albano.
Go right ahead.
Captain Lou.
Lou Albano show.
Assemblyman.
Oh, no, Senator, please don't interrupt.
All right.
Will you please?
That'll do it for now, folks. Captain Lou.
Yes.
If the fans who pay their good money come to believe that you guys are showmen and not engaged in a sport, don't you think that might destroy a lot of the illusions and also destroy the gate?
It may destroy the illusion of the gate, but I'd like to feel, as I said when I wrestled, When people beat me, I was beat because I wasn't a good wrestler. No one told me to lose. And if, as I said, if the WWF claims that it's a show, perhaps they are showmen, but it doesn't mean that every wrestler in the world is